Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Once again, it's me, Eddie G, and I'm here to bring you another brand new episode of Eddie G's Comic Culture, sponsored by the good folks over at Black Apparel. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, I hope you guys understand that, I go through a little ritual with every one of my episodes. I always start off giving my shout outs first and foremost to the good folks over at Black Apparel. I cannot extend my gratitude enough for all the work that you guys have put in. Sending a shout out to a good friend of mine and a brother, Kevin Seawright. Um, Make sure you guys check out their website at www.blackapparelblk.com. They've got some awesome content and great merchandise for you guys to check out. I know the holidays are around the corner, and if you guys are itching to get yourself something unique for a friend or for a family member, make sure you scope them out. Up next, also to my friends on Instagram, first and foremost, the Strictly Comedy Vault. A young man by the name of Brandon. He's a young up and coming writer. He's got some pretty awesome stuff on his page, man. He always keeps his page kind of, pretty lit with the photography that he's done with both, not just with comic book covers, but as well as Funko Pop figures also. So if you guys are into that, make sure you check him out. Um, Up next, of course, is our good friend Blu-ray Dan, who served as an inspiration for me to make these videos with you guys. He not only has an Instagram page, but he also has his own YouTube channel as well, so you guys can check him out. Also, he does some pretty awesome unboxing videos regarding 4K Ultra Blu-rays. I know that's the new wave right about now, and let's be honest, they are gorgeous looking films. He does reviews for them as well from all movies, both old and new. So make sure you check him out as well. He's got a pretty awesome. His content is pretty refreshed on the daily. So you guys will never be bored with what he's got. And last but not least, but a good friend of mine, excuse me, a good friend of mine out in New York, Dennis Knight, who is a writer on the indie label for Pronto Comics. He is the writer of the Cross comic book. Sending him lots of love and thanks for all the support, especially. And that's about it. So now that I've gotten that out the way, I want to just briefly talk about certain things today. Pretty much, I did make mention that I bought the Batman Rebirth book not too long ago. It was a second volume. It's just a trade paperback. I'm not finished, so I can't really go into details. I didn't, and I'm not just gonna dive into. I know there's some spoil. I'm gonna touch up on a few minor spoilers, I guess you could say, starting off, but it's not a big deal. It's looking pretty good. It's definitely looking pretty good. It looks pretty, not bad, I guess you could say. It's at some points it starts off like a generic Batman story usually. Um, but one of the twists that caught me from the very beginning of the book was the fact that apparently Catwoman is an inmate over at Arkham Asylum with over 200 murders underneath her belt. I don't know how that happened, and I'm not too aware as to where in the story in the story arc for Batman has this even taken place to begin with. But that pretty much just like took me by surprise as to like what the hell is going on here. Um, but it's definitely pretty good looking. The artwork is okay. I'm not too crazy about that either. That's another one thing that keeps me up on my toes. I mean, I don't know I forgot the artist's name who's illustrating the book right about now. But at that time, I don't know if he's still, I don't know, it's possible he may not even be on the book at this point. But, it seems like is that when I notice thing, one of the things I'm noticing at this artist level is that he loves to post up, he draws very detailed, intricate cowls for Batman. Like a lot of it almost looks like he's modeling the Bat cowl off of previous, Batman features. I'm talking about the movies, not just like this is like at some point one point the cowl kind of looked like a Michael Keaton cowl. Then the other, on another panel and another page, the cowl kind of looked like the cowl kind of looked like the one that one with Christian Bale would have on. So it didn't really make any. It was a little strange and off-putting considering, and at that point it was already notified that Ben Affleck was over. If there was anybody that he was going to model his Batman after, I think would be the most recent incarnation on film, which would be Ben Affleck. But apparently it wasn't. It doesn't really look like that's the case with this artist. So that was a little strange off the bat, but other than that, it's reading pretty good. Like I said, it's nothing too crazy to go off the bat for. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. But there's nothing really too nuts. Like I said, it's just starting off pretty slow and generic for any Batman story. Hopefully it picks up the pace and it becomes something else along the line. If not, then I won't be, if this is an indication, I don't think I'm going to be picking up the title anytime soon, for that matter, anyways, because I always like to keep the core members of the Justice League as my forefront books when I pick up weekly. And apparently, if that's not going to be the case with this one, if it's turning out to be a dud, then I'm just not going to waste my time. So that being said, I'm actually looking hope. I'm actually, but I'm hopeful. You know what I'm saying? Like Batman, there's always, Batman is Batman. There's eons of material over there, detective material and otherwise that can always be utilized and revisited and retconned and God knows what. So with that being said, it looks pretty interesting, but it's a little bit off of a slow start. So that's just to say the least. That's off the bat. So far, nothing major has happened in the world of comic books as of recently this week. I know there's still I'm way behind, so you can't even count on me on that because I'm not reading anything. I'm way behind on a Doomsday Clock. I have no idea what's going on with that. I have no idea what's going on with the Dark Knight Metal series that's happening right about now, which also looks amazing. And so it's very depressing at this point for me to just the way I'm playing catch up, and it sucks. But I guess it's whatever. But with that being said, it's been pretty quiet from what I've seen so far. Nothing really has exploded all over the internet, if that's the case. But moving right along, I did want to discuss a few things. I know I did touch up on the Spawn reboot in a previous episode, and it's pretty cool. One of the main things I guess today, Todd McFarlane actually tweeted a photo of the script, which I find which I kind of found funny in a sense because of the simple fact of how I was really going in at the fact at the previous episode over how he's really not doing too much justice for his character. This is the one thing, and this was kind of like had me. I was thinking about this earlier today. How is this his own project? This is his own baby. Todd McFarlane created the character of Spawn, and yet he doesn't really seem to really give a shit. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's a weird combination of whether he cares and then he cares too little about it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I don't see how he's really gonna make the story is supposed to take place between with the main characters of Sam and Switch, and I know Spawn is supposed to be like a backseat main character of in a movie, but the way it's just playing out is just like there's movies that don't even utilize computer animation that have a bigger budget than that. I don't understand how is that even possible that this film is going to get off the ground, for that matter. I understand. Believe me, I love his enthusiasm. I love his excitement for it. I really do. And I'm looking forward to it. But until he can actually drop some actual footage, some sort of test footage at least, to give us to give us an idea as to what we're going to be looking at, I don't think I really don't think he should be tooting his own horn anytime soon regarding the Spawn reboot. I would love to see it, believe me, but as I said, I need test footage. At least the same way Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool from the first time. Before the movement, when they show once that test footage actually went viral and everyone went crazy for it, that's when the movie just automatically took off right then and there. And because the interest was there after that, and that made it made all of the sense. Speaking of Deadpool, once again, shout out to 20th Century Fox for making a bomb-ass trailer. This was a good. Let me tell you, that was a good series to give Ryan Reynolds his leg room. But even then, excuse me, even with Ryan Reynolds' interest in the movie, he had to make some sacrifices himself. I'm pretty sure he had to come out of pocket for the film also, and he ended up and it worked. It worked perfectly well for him. This is exactly that was the main difference between that and Spawn. It seems as though the actor who has no creation, who has no residuals coming to him whatsoever for no royalties whatsoever coming in for creating this character, he showed that sort of interest and care and TLC for him to go ahead and step forward and make the sacrifices he did. Whereas Todd McFarlane just I don't know, like he's trying to make some choppy independent student film with really good camera work, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make any sense to me as to why he would do something like that considering this property. So tweeting a photo of a draft of the script really doesn't bother me at this point. It doesn't even really bother me that Todd McFarlane is even directing this, considering what his film credits are, which isn't much, to be quite honest. But at the end of the day, like I said, I need to see test footage, and and I would say that quite a bit of fans like myself want to see the same thing, because you don't want to you don't want to turn around with something that's going to be an embarrassment. You don't want to turn around with something that's going to be a negative mark on your career, or turn around with something that's not going to look good for you. So with that base, you know what I'm saying, with that, with that in mind, with that at the base of, of all the thought regarding it behind this project, like maybe it's time to just take a step back and, because there's no, even when the film gets pre-production going, castings done, so on and so forth, once they actually hit the road and those cameras start rolling, you're gonna go beyond that budget. Like, there's just no way. I don't see how he's not going to go beyond that budget, which kind of concerns me. And then on top of that, you really, like I said, man, my nightmare, one of my big nightmares, and it's not even Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin was always a terrible movie. It was a dumpster fire for a comic book movie, but it still had money behind it. Whereas you don't want it to end up like Superman 4. And then that's like a big shit stain on the careers of many, and particularly so Christopher Reeve, because Christopher Reeve, who was, I would say hounded to play the role for one last time after he turned it down originally for doing it the third time. He gets a story writing credit, and he gets a little bit of a leg up on the character at this point, but yet he still got underfunded for the film. And then what look what happened at the end result. There was a laughing stock. It was just that's the one thing I don't want, and that was the one thing that sucked for all fans of Superman, because yeah, man, you're gonna close out the anthology with part 4, The Quest for Peace, and this shit's not even it's not even complete. Like, it really sucked. It really, really put a damper on the legacy of Christopher Reeve, honestly. Um, yeah, and then and it always bums me out to think to this day that that's like his last movie for him, his last outing as as Superman in the movies. So hopefully that doesn't really turn. Hopefully things turn around on that and it doesn't end up in that boat. However, using a very limited budget on a heavy, on a heavy computer animated effects film, it's very worrisome. And it's his own character. Like, how do you not know this? Like, your character's armor is alive. The damn cape is alive. Like, you need to have CGI very heavy usefully. You need to have a very heavy use of CGI for this character on screen. How is this gonna work? So it doesn't make any sense. With that being said, hopefully that like I said, hopefully it turns around sooner or later. But this doesn't look so great. Honestly, it just doesn't look so cool at all. So with that being said, I see that still a lot of stuff is being discussed about Justice League. Let's hope that that's hopefully that hopefully Justice League makes the money that it needs to make back, because I really want to see the cinematic universe thrive by going further. But I don't know, man. It's just, well, we'll see what happens. Fuck it. I'm not gonna discuss any further on that. But yeah, man, it's really something else. Oh, and it looks like Joe Manganiello has finally, or Manganiello, however you pronounce his last name, finally was revealed to the world as Deathstroke, the Terminator from the end of Justice League. In case you guys haven't seen it, it's one of the end credits, one of the end scenes, the post credit scenes at the end of the movie. And he looks awesome, by the way. He looks great, very well. I just think I think they kind of went a little overboard with the gray hair, but he looks fantastic. He looks boss as hell. I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like. Hopefully he's in Batman also, in Matt Reeves' Batman. Let's see what goes with that. But yeah, so far it's just been a pretty slow week, and not much news going on there, guys. Hopefully, I'm really dying to read the Doomsday Clock. I really am. That whole ordeal with I know they had some pretty big DC. I know DC's had some pretty big story arcs this summer that I really, really lamented on missing out on. I am trying to get my hands on them, so guys, please bear with me. But as I said before, like, this has just been a slow process trying to get back into the collecting, of course. Um, with that being said, also I wanted to discuss with you guys exactly, I want to read out to reach out to you guys regarding certain, you know, certain films regarding of the 80s horror genre. I want to discuss exactly which one was your actual favorite. I know it's in November, but for some reason I've been dabbing with a few of these thoughts in my head as of recent, and I was always thinking to myself, like, which one was the um best slasher from the 80s. I know we got Halloween coming up right about now. I know, but and trust me, I'm another. That was another slice of bad news yesterday. What that Halloween is apparently now being, the production has been delayed. Not by much at all. It's still on track to come out in October. So it doesn't seem like it's really going to be a big of a big issue. But it has been delayed to start filming in January, which isn't bad at all. Like, we're about the last week in November, anyways. For what, about a month? But it started making me realize exactly how much of a good. One of the things that I'm really appreciative about this approach for this movie is because it's actually taking the time out to retcon quite a bit. And I think this is the first time any actual horror movie has ever taken this sort of approach, and it's awesome to me that it's actually taking approach from it's just going from the first two films, and then ignores everything else after the fact. Like, nothing from part three to H2O or Resurrection, not even the Rob Zombie features are even being acknowledged for this. And this is excellent. Plus, the fact that John Carpenter is also involved makes me extremely excited about this. So, as much time as they need to iron this bitch out, do it. Because I'll give me a great product for Halloween of next year. That makes it perfect for me. Also, Judy Greer, Cheryl Tunt from Archer fame, is actually in talks to play Jamie Lee Curtis's character's daughter, Laurie Strode, which is awesome. That makes it, it's kind of gonna, if she does a pretty badass job too, it's that's the only good thing about it, is that if she does such a great job in the role, because I could actually see her playing the daughter of Jamie Lee Curtis in this feature. The only thing is that it would just pretty much kind of like erase the other entries, Danielle Harris, so to speak. So I'm not trying to be foul, but Jesus, Judy Greer. I think Judy Greer has a potential of actually taking off with this role if she really wants to. So that's also an interesting piece to take out of this. But kind of leads me to wonder, like, what's gonna happen with the rest of these other cats, like, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Are we ever gonna start seeing some of these the original slashers back on a big screen again? Are they gonna be in theaters again? I believe they should. We will. They just need to be. I think they just need to be retconned completely so it can get back to the basics and it doesn't go back. Because I know the remakes haven't really been hitting the remakes haven't hit at all. The Friday the 13th remake didn't hit, as well as the Nightmare on Elm Street remake did nothing, absolutely nothing whatsoever. It was just completely terrible. It's an unfortunate truth, but yes, it was barely watchable, guys. And a hell of a boring movie. It was boring as all shit. I couldn't even sit myself through it because it was just that bad. But what are your guys' favorites? Like, what are you guys looking to see? I know I'm looking to see I would like to see a Friday the 13th actually rebooted, but correctly, properly. I didn't think the last one was bad enough for it to build up on, but that was just another a missed opportunity. But to me, Nightmare on Elm Street, I think it's gonna need some time for them to do that, because there's just no way you can really get another Freddy Krueger. I don't know, it's just one of those things. It's like Robert Englund has stamped his name all over that persona. So I really don't see how in the world will they ever possibly get someone to fill those shoes and to actually put, those asses in seats in the theaters the way he did. Even in his bad movies, he was still fun to watch. So, you know, it's gonna be something that I think they need to take their time with that one, because there's just no, you can't just pick anybody to be Freddy Krueger. Obviously, the last time around they just did that with Jackie Earl Haley, and I like Jackie Earl Haley. I like what he did with Rorschach, even though, you know, I rarely see him around now, but his work as Rorschach in The Watchmen was legendary. He still couldn't do anything about that either, so, you know, we'll see. So with that being said, guys, I just want to go ahead and see you guys once again tonight. Happy thing, you know, I know there's been a Thanksgiving weekend, so I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys survived your Black Friday shopping. Hopefully nobody went insane. Hopefully nobody lost any limbs or blood or bones for that matter. But with that being said, hey, if you have, you already know the deal, guys. I'm about to close out, so hit the comment section if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything you want to see in the future episodes for, you know, that you'd like to discuss about, or anything you want to discuss about with me. Let it be known, man. Make sure you spend, you know, hit your, you know, make sure you spin your piece down there at the bottom, and let me know what's going on. Let me know what's up. So until then, I'll see you guys next time around. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. And I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.